Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of May. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will take you to a site that will help you get your birth chart for free. You just need your date of birth, location of birth and time of birth, and it will give you the whole works. And then you can come back and watch the videos for your Moon and Ascendant signs. So you might find you resonate with those more, or you may feel like it just gives you, more information about what's going on with you overall than you'll get from just your sun sign. So my books are open again. I'm taking personal readings. There's a link to my scheduler down in the description box. If you can use that for booking readings, I would be eternally grateful. I'll keep the email for, just reaching out, getting in touch, that sort of thing, because I won't be taking bookings via email unless there's a really, really good reason for it. So I put a lot of work into that scheduler and I'm dead chuffed with it. So it seems to be working well. If you are one of the people who booked a reading when it was first launched and had to deal with the teething problems that came with that, I'm so sorry. I've emailed you all, so you know who you are. And I am endlessly grateful for your patience while I got on top of it. Thank you. And as ever, thank you so much for your likes, your cares, shares, comments, donations, everything really, just being here. And if you were on the live stream as well, that was also awesome. I enjoyed it so much. I'm definitely going to do it again, albeit with more coffee next time and maybe a blanket for when my heating goes off, because I was frozen and I didn't want to run downstairs and put it back on because it would have meant abandoning you all. So I harded it out for a little while at least anyway. So we're using the Lost Forest deck today because that's the one that wanted to be used. So let's go on with this. Can I have 3 cards for Sagittarius, please? Whoop. 3 cards for Sagittarius. Okay, first card you've got is the 6 of Fire. That's the 6 of Wands in a standard deck. Second card you've got is the Knight of Skies, which is the Knight of Swords. That's a pretty dark looking card there, look at that. Very cool though. I love crows and ravens and corvids in general, to be honest. I said corvids. It's coming towards Sagittarius for the month of May, please. 5 of Fire, okay. Don't panic. Beautiful. At the bottom of the deck we've got Temperance, that's your card, Sagittarius. There you are, right at the bottom. Followed by the Knight of Earth, which is the Knight of Pentacles, which is interesting. We'll pin that, we'll come back to it. I'm just going to get some clarifiers and then we'll get on with the rest of the reading. I've got the strongest feeling that I need to use the Shadowscapes deck, so that's what I'll do. So let's have a look. Why is the 6 of Fire here for Sagittarius? Ooh. Queen of Pentacles. Why is the 6 of Fire here for Sagittarius? Ooh. And the Page of Wands. Nice. Why is the Knight of Skies here? Seems like the cards have got a lot to say for you, Sagittarius. What about the Knight of Skies? Read. We'll take those 2. Okay. We've got the 6 of Swords and we've got the Devil. Ooh. Should I take that? Should I not take that? I'm going to take it. It flipped, but I feel strongly that I need to take it. It's the Empress. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Page of Swords. Quite an epic Page of Swords there. Look at that. This whole deck's absolutely incredible, to be honest. I'm surprised more people don't use it. So, let's have a look. I feel like I'm probably going to need to pull some more cards for this. Just because I see there's some stuff rumbling around here that might need kind of pulling apart. Or I might just sort of do an overview and then I might do an extended and stick it on Vimeo. So if you're interested in that, I'll decide by the end of the video what I'm going to do. So just bear with me. Right. Six of Wands. This is a glorious card. It's in your recent past. It's a card of Leo. And it talks about success. It talks about, you know, like conspicuous success. The sort of thing that not only you feel inside here, but also, you know, other people can see it in you, right? You know, it's not necessarily you winning a competition, although it could be, you know, or, you know, doing anything like parading through town like it is on the standard Ride Away. There's a sense of you being reborn, right? There's a phoenix on this card. There's one stuck in my hair as well, but there's a phoenix there, right? It's like things have been very hard for you for a while now, but there's a sense that you've really turned a corner. You kind of, you know, if not entirely wrapped up an old cycle, it's certainly on its way out, and you are kind of champing at the bit to get moving into your new chapter of your life, right? And here's this phoenix to confirm that this is how you're feeling. There's this sense of you spreading your wings and starting to get excited about life again, because you're kind of stuck in a rut for a long time, and there was this whole sense of your external circumstances not matching what it was that you felt inside, and feeling trapped and feeling restricted by it, right? You've got rid of that. It's sloughed off and it's gone. And now you've been rocking this kind of phoenix energy, feeling really good about it, feeling really good about yourself and the potential that's out in front of you. It's kind of borne out by the cards that we've got down here. Now, we've got the Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Wands. The Queen of Pentacles is strictly Virgo, right? So if you're dealing with a Virgo, also good. And then we've got the Page of Wands, which is kind of like a wild card, but it's got a really, like, I always kind of associate it with Sagittarius anyway, because it's got that kind of, I mean, all of the Wands court has that kind of movement implied by it, but the Knight and the Page, they're both kind of like, I guess that's quite an Aries trait as well, though, to be fair, so keep it as a wild card. The thing is, as I'm looking at these cards, right, you can tell that these two cards are from the same suit, right? From the same family. There's a real warmth in the colour, right? It looks really good together. There's heat there, there's passion there, there's excitement there. And then we've got this Queen of Pentacles. And I have nothing against the Queen of Pentacles. I like the Queen of Pentacles in a lot of ways, but she's got a very different hue to her. And it feels like perhaps this is a character that you've had some issues with. It's possible to see it another way and see this as you really starting to take care of yourself now, right? I understand the value that you present as a soul living a human experience all by yourself, right? You don't require validation from someone else, and you know, you're not worthless. You're not all of these things, right? You are awesome, and starting to understand that about yourself. But because it's so different in colour to these, I kind of feel like maybe this character was what was involved with what went before, right? And it's very blue and muted and very different energy to yours, right? It's just like that's what you've moved away from. That's what you've, you know, spread your wings and shifted from. And then we've got this Page of Wands, which is, for me, the card of a new start, right? It's what I was saying before. It's about being excited about the potential of the future and what it brings. Yeah. Very different. to where you were before, what's lying ahead of you. And I don't think you even know necessarily what it is that's in front of you, but you're excited to experience it because it's going to be new. Right? And that's what the Page of Wands talks about. It's new experiences. All the pages have jobs to do. They relay, messages between the courts of Tarotland. But this one is more excited about what they get to see and smell and taste while they're doing the job. It's not about the job. It's about broadening their horizons. It's about doing something new. And this is where you are. This page here is playing a violin with a wand, which is cool. Oh, in fact, there's some funny little goblin things playing musical instruments down there too. It's really free. And I love to see that for you, Sagittarius, because you weren't feeling free for a long time. You were feeling very trapped. And it's not the right place for you. So, everything's been going swimmingly in the recent past. But then we come to this. Right? Knight of Skies. This is a Knight of Swords in the standard deck. Like, strictly it's Gemini, but I don't feel like it's a person. I feel like this is something brewing in your present, right? We've got this corvid, this raven, I think, bringing movement, and it's movement of swords, of air, so it's words and it's communications, and it kind of feels like trouble's brewing. I'm like, yeah, right. Just a little bit. See, it's dark and it's kind of stormy. It's like this crow's above the clouds, but it looks pretty set on heading to a destination, and I feel like it's got news to bring. It's got something to drop onto your lap, right? And these two, oh, that's interesting. The two cards that you've got to clarify are the Six of Swords. And what's interesting is we've got ravens on there as well, but we've also got another bird in flight, right? And we've got more motion, more movement. Now, I'm not surprised to see that on the Six of Swords because there's always movement implied with sixes, right? The fours are security and stability, right? The fives are the energy that kind of blow that up. And the sixes are you moving away in the aftermath, right? Healing yourself up and taking yourself off, doing that thing. Now, being the Six of Swords, it's more words, it's more communication. It's about moving away from things that have been causing you grief in some way. And then we've got the Devil. Now that's the card of Capricorn, so you might be dealing with a Capricorn here. But the first thing that really drew my eye when I saw this card was the web that seems to be around this Devil character, right? He's got a heart between his hands and it's kind of suspended in a web. He's got around his hands, but it's kind of meshing him up as well. If you can see that, I don't know if you'll focus on it. Right, it's a truly extraordinary card. And it feels like a dragging back, right? There's a fucking raven on here as well, right at the bottom. It's there, also flying, right? I literally said to someone in the live stream the other day that I felt like things were just going to get better for Sagittarius. And I stand by that, right? I maintain that that is true. This is a blip, right? But something's brewing, definitely. What I feel here is you trying to move away from a situation, right? Whatever situation that is. And it kind of not letting you go. Right, you're going to take it as it resonates to you, and I'm going to pull another couple of cards. But I feel like there's probably an emotional component to this because, the Devil usually talks about those material, earthy things. They're kind of the pleasures of the flesh and all that sort of stuff. Right? There's a strong sexual overtone with it, but with this one, it feels different. Right? This one, we're talking more about codependency. We're talking about toxic possessiveness, actually. That's what I'm seeing here, right? Because this heart is in a web and it's between the devil's hands and it's not letting it go. It's like your heart wants to float off. It's not going. So, hence, emotional. Tell me about Six of Swords. What is Sagittarius trying to move away from? Oh, fucking hell. Oh. Three of Swords. Trying to move away from this broken-hearted feeling that you've had. Or something that broke your heart. You know, you're ready to move away from it with the Six of Swords. You don't want to be stuck there anymore. You don't want to be trapped there anymore. About the Six of Swords. Ooh. Oh, more Virgo energy, right? As Hermit, it's the card of Virgo. If you're not dealing with a Virgo, then this is this is deep introspection about what it was that left you feeling so brokenhearted. And for some of you, it will be a relationship, absolutely no doubt. But for others, it will be, you know, a platonic relationship or a friendship or something, you know what I mean? But I get a sense of there being one person, you, Saggy, who is trying to move away, and one person who is just like, where the fuck do you think you're going? It's not happening, you know. Stormy. It's funny because, like, I see you here on that swan, right? You're trying to take off, but, like, you know, take off and hit this fucking raven right here and this storm cloud. And then we've got this devil. And the devil is toxic, it's possessive, it's codependent, you know, it's obsessive even. This Three of Swords has a swan on it as well. Just as it's in there, like that, right? So it's like you've done a bit of work on yourself. Like you've healed your swan up and now you're ready to sit on the back of it. It's astonishing, actually, that these are two completely different decks and they are two, even the two characters have the same hair colour, right? The person on the back of the swan and the person who's kind of mourning the swan. It's almost like you've done some work on yourself, like you've really made a difference to how you feel about a situation, like, and you kind of know where you stand in your own head and you're ready to fly. You're ready to go, but it feels like someone's kind of anticipating it and they're ready to bring a shitstorm down on top of you. Let's get some more cards for this devil, because like it's toxic, it's possessiveness, right? That's that web. I never really pay that much attention to that heart there, but it's like it's the only thing that I keep looking at here now. It's just you going nowhere. Tell me about the devil. Why is the devil here for Sagittarius? So we've got the Magician. That's the only one that jumped out. The others fell. Tell me about the devil. Three of Cups. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Ten of Swords. This is the 10 is the end of the suit, right? So it's an ending, and this presumably is the ending, you know, that caused this, or maybe that caused the ending. Take it as it resonates to you. At this point, I'm not sure whether this is you or this is the other person. I feel like it's possibly the other person, because this is somebody who feels betrayed. It's somebody who feels like they're at rock bottom. It couldn't be at a different, you know, an entirely different feeling to what you've been having all this time in the recent past. This is somebody else. This is how they're feeling, right? And it's dark and it's black and it's ominous. The cards that you've got to clarify the devil are the Magician, the Three of Cups, and the King of Pentacles. Now that's interesting because we've now got a pair on the board, King and Queen of Pentacles, masculine and feminine energy. It doesn't have to be a man and a woman, because we all have both masculine and feminine energy within. But it's interesting that it's here. Now, the first clarifier for the Devil is the Magician, and I see this being one of two interpretations, or possibly both together, right? The first is that the person, the one that's about to rain a shitstorm down on you, now in some slightly skewed way appreciates you and what it is that you can do far more than they did before, right? That's possible. They see you as somebody who has magician tendencies, right? Who can just make things happen. Somebody who's a little bit fucking magic, frankly. You know, it's a sense of them understanding what it is that they've lost here. But now I've said it aloud, I don't think that that's the case, right? And I shall tell you for why in a second. The second thing, and the one that I think is more likely, is that this is, you know, the negative energy of the Magician at play. And by that, we're talking about manipulation, because, right, the Magician is super powerful because he knows what element of, you know, what ratio of elements to put together with intent to create and manifest into the 3D anything that they please, right? The upside, the other side of that is that it wanders into manipulation, right? It's powerful, but when the power is misused, then it becomes manipulative rather than creative. And now the reason why I've gone with that over the other is because I'll bring you back to the Six of Swords, right? And see how you're trying to take flight on this swan, like that. And all these swords are behind you, right? That's what you're trying to leave behind. And you've got all the ravens sat on top of the swords. In this Magician, we've got ravens sat on top of the Magician there, right? Just as they are in the Six of Swords. Two entirely different decks, very similar imagery, right? And this is saying to me that this person, this is somebody who's going to try and manipulate you to keep you where you were before, right? Toxic as fuck. Very manipulative, very devious as well, right? It's the Magician doesn't show his hand. He very rarely shows his hand. So all of this is kind of going on the down low. Now, this Three of Cups and and King of Pentacles could also indicate a number of things. It's possible that it could indicate a third-party situation, possibly, you know, in whatever sense, where there, you know, should have been two, there was three, and whether that was another person or whether that was, you know, your job, that's possible, you know, a well-meaning family member, your mother-in-law, something like that. You know what I mean? Somebody's input was there when it wasn't required. That's a possibility. But what I think is more likely, is reunion and reconciliation. I think that this is what this person is trying to go for. Yeah, see this card that I've just dropped while I've been absent-mindedly fucking shuffling the cards. Entirely different deck, one that I don't think I've ever even used on YouTube before. It's got a fucking swan on it, right? But this is the Queen of Arrows, or the Queen of Swords. This together with the Magician and the Devil, this is somebody who's game playing. This is somebody who is manipulating a situation and very fucking bitter about the way it's turned out. But because they're not prepared to let you go, they are working behind the scenes to try and manipulate you back into the circumstances that you were trying to release yourself from in the first place. Tell me about this King of Pentacles, please. Ace of Wands. They're trying to restart something new. They're trying to pull you back in. They need you. Is the long and short of it. They need you. Now, whether they need you because, well, no, they don't. Like, there's too much dark energy here for this to be a genuine kind of thing. And nobody needs anybody else, right? It's Ace of Wands. It's got a bow and arrow on it, right? And what is the symbol of Sagittarius? It's the bow and arrow. They want you back where they think that you should be, right? And they are working behind the scenes to manipulate that into, reality is what it is. You have been fucking warned, right? So, where are we at? I cannot see what time it says on my phone. 25 minutes, right? That was because it's a white background on the white window. I had to put my hand in the way so I could see what it said. What you've got coming towards you is the 5 of fire, right? That's the 5 of wands. That's conflict. That is a fucking volcano there, right? Ready to explode. I hate to say it, but shitstorm incoming, right? Often we can see that as indicating internal conflict, but I don't feel like that's the case here. Like, this is very much external conflict to you. And remember how I said that 5 energy kind of blows things up, right? You've been doing so well. You've been so happy with yourself. Here comes somebody to blow it up. Like that volcano, straight away. And some people say it's, it's petty fighting and stuff like that. And sometimes it can be, but more often than not, I see the 5s as actually a lot more profound than that. There's really deep stuff going on in 5 cards. And the card that you've got to clarify the 5 of fire is the 5 of cups. More 5 energy, but this time it's about emotional stuff. And then we've got the Empress, right? So let's move through these in turn. Feels very much like these are 2 totally different suits, but I could see this, right? There's this dark energy in the night of skies flying towards this 5 of fire, this 5 of wands, right? Right now, as you're watching this, I don't think that the volcano has erupted yet, but it's coming, and it's coming in pretty soon. I find it interesting that mountain is so kind of like uniform. I mean, there's nothing growing on it, right? There's no trees, there's no grass, there's nothing like that. It's just a big rock mountain, right? That's given nothing away in front of it. I feel like this is probably going to broadside you a little bit because you probably don't see it coming. But here we've got the start of the eruption, right? And it's going to be huge. Going to be massive. Maybe this person, whoever it is that you're dealing with, is a bit stony faced about things, right? Maybe they've been quiet, maybe they've been keeping their own counsel for a little while. It's about to change. And the reason that it's changing is the 5 of cups, right? This is regret, this is sometimes guilt, sometimes remorse. But it's a really strong focusing on what is lost and not what remains, right? This is somebody holding on very fucking tight, just as they are in the devil. All of this stuff's going on under the radar with you at the moment, but it's going to come out in a big way. And it's emotional, right? So we've got cups that are knocked over, we've got vessels that are knocked over, and someone who's completely obsessed with what's gone, what's lost, And people in this frame of mind don't go with the flow. They don't appreciate. I would go as far as to say they probably don't live in the present because they don't appreciate what they've got when it's there in front of them, right? It's taken you spreading your wings and moving off before they finally realise what they've lost. And even at this point, I don't feel like it's a true sense of getting you and understanding you and what a valuable human being you are. This is a kind of toxic possessiveness. I'm going to use that word again. It's possessiveness. You are mine. You belong to me. Whether this is a partner or a friend or anything. I mean, you could possibly see this as a fucking work situation. Take it as it resonates to you. But this person doesn't want to let you go, and they're going to let you know that they don't want to let you go very, very soon because they are really focused, laser focused on what has gone, right? It feels like they're kind of labouring under some misapprehension as to what it was that you moved away from the first place. You know, like, for you to feel trapped and you to feel like you weren't able to be yourself, because when your internal and your external are different, that is not you being yourself, then that was not a good situation. That was a toxic situation, and you recognize that and you moved away from it. Either this person either is refusing to acknowledge that, or is now completely rewriting history in their own head to make it something that it wasn't. And it's going to boom out very, very soon. The final card that you've got here in the initial clarifiers is the Empress. Now that's Taurus or Libra, depending on who you listen to, or both potentially. But the Empress is the mother, right? She's in charge of fertility and abundance. She brings new things into the world, right? Here she is holding a bowl of fruit and vegetables or something, it looks like, and she's kind of waving a hand, and she's letting off this big stream of butterflies up into the air. We've got more airborne movement, right? But I notice that as they sit here, the Five of Cups is looking that way, and the Empress is turned and looking off that way. She's looking up towards the sun. And whether this is, and I feel like it is now I've said that, actually, this is you and this other person, right? And the two very different attitudes that you are exhibiting at the moment, right? They've got minor arcana, and it's a 5, and it's it's obsessive, and it kind of feels a little bit dirty, like just energetically, it's mucky, it's grubby, right? And then there's you here, your face turned towards the sun, right? Releasing these butterflies, experiencing this transformation, or at least trying to express this transformation or this need to transform to this other person. And this is where the conflict happens, right? This is where the volcano explodes, because this person doesn't want to hear that, right? This person is working really, really hard to try and manipulate you back into whatever situation it was that you let yourself go from in the first place. Oh, fuck. Tell me about the Five of Cups, please. It's a sword. Fuck. Yeah. See, we've got the Ace of Swords now, and the Seven of Wands. Like, they're incredibly defensive. But the defensive is of themselves. Like, I feel like they're not wanting to look at the truth of the matter at all. They've in fact got no interest in looking at the truth. It's that fucking raven again there, right? They don't really want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear your truth, right? And this defensive energy is almost so defensive, it's aggressive. They don't want to hear what you have to say. They don't want to hear your opinion on anything at all. They just want you to do as you're fucking told. It's very abrasive. Let's have a look at you. What about the Empress? The Empress. Yeah. Yeah, so King of Wands at the bottom of the deck there. Now that's Leo, strictly, but it could be you, Sagittarius, right? It doesn't have to be a woman or a man or anything. Tarot doesn't care about gender, right? Fire sign energy. Now, if you're dealing with a Leo, then there possibly is a thing, but it could well be you, right? It's you standing in your power. It's you standing in your strength because you want this transformation, right? And in fact, yeah, these butterflies are ringing around the sun. The sun is Leo as well. But what we've got here is the Two of Swords, Seven of Swords in reverse, and the Hierophant. This is really fascinating because the Two of Swords is about needing to make a decision, and usually that decision is kind of devoid of emotion because you're, willingly separating yourself from your intuition and your emotion and your feelings about things to make a kind of intellectual decision, right? But I don't get that from this card. because we've got this kind of naga thing going on here, right? This person stood in front of it, and this is cutting the head off the snake, right? What is the snake? The snake is this here, right? The Seven of Swords can sometimes talk about risk, and it can sometimes talk about all of these things. But when I see this particular depiction of it, this is fantasy stuff, right? We've got castles in fucking clouds, right? This and it's a very fairy tale scene, basically. But it's fantasy and it's illusion and it's things not being, you know, as solid as they appear, right? You try and stand on a cloud, it's not going to happen, right? This way around, this is you acknowledging and identifying that that is not reality and you're not going to fucking play with it anymore. And it's really, really conscious, right? So you're cutting the head off that snake, that illusion, whatever it is, whatever illusion they are currently laboring under mistakenly is there. And then we've got the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant is the card of Taurus. Again, if you're dealing with a Taurus, all good. But it's about established ways of doing things, right? So it could be a marriage, potentially, that's possible. But it could also just be the way that you two have always done things. And this is particularly applicable if it's like a long-standing friend or something like that, you know, where you've kind of got to the point where you're kind of standing up for yourself, like, this is toxic as fuck, I just don't want this anymore, right? This person's kind of like, nah, come back. It claws into you, you know, and you're like, no, you're standing up and fighting for yourself. Either way, you see this for what it is now, and not for what you pretended it was for a while, Saggy, because I think that's probably how you ended up getting stuck in the first place. Yeah, I've got the moon, right? So those things that were hidden are now, like, they cannot go back into the box now, right? You pretended that things were okay for a very long time, right? Squash down bits of yourself, no doubt, in the process, in doing so. We're just like, no, this is what it is. It's all fine. It's all fine. But the cat's out of the bag, right? You have felt this liberation. You've experienced this liberation. There's no way you're going backwards now. You're not going to do it. Because what has been revealed, you know, you can see everything by the full light of the moon now. Right? Nothing is hidden. You're like, nah, why? Why would I go back to that? Back to that old situation, that old way of doing things, that old way of feeling, right? Because you didn't enjoy how that felt, not a bit. Not anything else for Hierophant. Ooh. Yeah, fucking Six of Wands again. There. See? It's moving away. That is the same card as this one. Here. Right? Fuck. It's fucking more swans. Right? Cards are all about swans this month, so if you see some swan, like, keep an eye out, right? Maybe swan comes up somewhere, and it doesn't have to be a physical swan waddling around in front of you, like maybe, you know, you just see a swan, or you dream of swans or something. There are swans all over this, right? Maybe I might look it up after the reading and see what it is that swans indicate. But, you know, what everything was, the illusion that everything was, is now cast aside, and you can see very clearly what the situation is, and you're not prepared to go back, more than not prepared to go back, right? Under the light of the moon, under all of these things that have been revealed, you are fucking hot-footing it straight out of there. And Sagittarius, that's absolutely the best thing for you to do. I don't doubt that for a second, because this grubby energy here is just what you were trying to escape in the first place, you know? Right. I'm going to leave it there. Because basically, there's going to be a shitstorm, but you're going to come out of it all right? As long as you stick to your guns, you know what you want, you know what you don't want. And I don't feel any particular sense of you being kind of wobbled from that in any way, but they're going to try, right? They're going to try. The only thing that you can control in this is your reaction to it. And I think that you're all right with it. But just expect the confrontation because it is coming. I think I will do an extended on this a little bit. And just have a little delve around in it. So if this has resonated with you at all and you'd like to see the extended, there'll be a link down in the description box and you can come and join me over there. If not, if this is where we part ways, then that's all cool and fine. Best of luck with this. I think you'd be fine. I think you've got it. Like you've bloomed so much, Sagittarius, in the last few months. You know, think of it as just, you know, one last push to get out of that sticky web. And then you're all good. Right. I love you all very much. Take care.